This is Mac OS Ken.
Analysts react to the scary fast announcements. Apple is in a seriously weird position in India, and a trip behind the scary fast scenes. It is Wednesday, the 1st of November, 2023. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSKen. Even before Apple's scary fast event Monday night, D.A. Davidson analyst Tom Forte was on CNBC saying that whatever Macs Apple was said to reveal would not move the needle for the company's shares. He was, of course, not wrong, but nobody expected that would happen anyway. Still, it strikes me as bad form to go on TV 2 hours before an announcement and say, it really doesn't matter what they announce. Paraphrasing, as I'm wont to do. Other analysts also reacted, and no needles were moved. Apple 3.0 posted Forte's CNBC clip, as well as pieces of notes from other Apple analysts. Needham analyst Laura Martin questions the when of the scary fast event. The odd timing, she wrote, just 3 days before earnings, causes us to worry that laptop and iMac sales were weak in the September quarter. Pardon my editorializing, but that is a stupid sentence. On Apple's June quarter earnings call, the company warned that revenue for both Mac and iPad were expected to decline double digits year over year in the September quarter, thanks to tough compares. The June quarter of 2022 saw significant disruptions to production. Apple was able to meet pent-up demand in the September quarter of 2022. A year later, there was no such pent-up demand, just an ugly compare that looked set to drag down the anticipated growth for iPhone and services, and thus drag down the quarter. That is what Apple told us 3 months ago. Maybe Martin missed that. The way the analyst sees it, the scary fast event may have been a way to mitigate any negative share price reaction because Apple can focus on the future and reiterate how optimistic it is about unit sales of its new laptops and iMac products discussed at the event. Wait a minute. Is she accusing Apple of guiding the narrative of public relations? Martin has a buy rating on Apple shares. Her price target on the shares is $195. Making me motion for the bartender is Oppenheimer analyst Martin Yang. Quoting his note, Apple introduced 3 different SoCs, M3, M3 Pro, and M3 Max. The performance improvement over the M2 family are less significant in this generation. The M2 family commands a bigger percentage performance improvement over M1 overall. From the people who poo-pooed, evolutionary, not revolutionary. He continues, overall, we are underwhelmed by the incremental upgrades, puzzled by a much shortened MacBook Pro release cycle, and disappointed by the lack of new information regarding Apple Silicon for AAA gaming. He still digs the stock, though. Yang has an outperform rating on Apple shares. His price target on the shares is $200. One wishes Oppenheimer's Yang and Evercore analyst Amit Daryanani had a watch party, since the latter spotted stuff that might have turned the former on. Quoting Daryanani's note, the M3 processors are based on 3nm technology and have big GPU upgrades, namely including ray tracing and mesh shading, which is crucial for high-resolution virtual video, i.e. gaming and AR and VR, as well as an integrated GPU and unified memory. He also likes how much faster the M3 processors are than the M1 line, apparently understanding that most people don't buy a new computer every time there's a new computer. Mr. Daryanani has an outperform rating on Apple shares. His price target on the shares is $210. TechCrunch ran a story Tuesday that really messed with my brain. According to that, Apple has notified a number of journalists and politicians in India that their iPhones have been targeted by state-sponsored attacks. Quoting the report, Apple has warned over a half dozen Indian lawmakers from Prime Minister Narendra Modi's main opposition of their phones being targets of state-sponsored attacks, these people said Tuesday, in a serious digital espionage charge just months ahead of next year's general elections. Apple has confirmed the notifications, though it has not indicated what states it thinks might have sponsored the spying. In a statement to TechCrunch, the Cupertino company said, state-sponsored attackers are very well funded and sophisticated, and their attacks evolve over time. Detecting such attacks relies on threat intelligence signals that are often imperfect and incomplete. It's possible that some Apple threat notifications may be false alarms, or that some attacks are not detected. We are unable to provide information about what causes us to issue threat notifications, as that might help state-sponsored attackers adapt their behavior to evade detection in the future. TechCrunch says India's capital has been accused of deploying the Pegasus spyware on activists and opposition leaders for years. For that reason alone, assuming it was Prime Minister Modi's administration that backed the attacks would be understandable. Thing is, it might also be wrong. Other suspects could include any nation that might benefit from instability in India, and this news could certainly prompt or add to that. Apar Gupta, a senior privacy activist, is quoted in the TechCrunch piece saying public cynicism or judicial stupor should not preclude us from demanding an independent, transparent, technical analysis and clear disclosures from the government of India regarding its spyware purchases and deployments. This issue strikes at the heart of Indian democracy. That has been a concern for a while. In addition to the accusations mentioned earlier, TechCrunch says a Financial Times report last March had India's government seeking new spyware contracts. For the government's part, TechCrunch has India's IT minister indicating that the administration is concerned about the matter and is investigating to find the truth. At the same time, the piece says he downplayed the allegations, saying the threat notifications received by them were vague and merely estimations. The part my head keeps coming back to, Apple, which is trying to grow business and manufacturing in India, just told the opposition to the government with which Apple is working that somebody powerful is actively trying to spy on them. I wonder what Tim Cook's favorite curse word is. Beats has done a deal with a soccer player on a set of headphones that you cannot have, but you can have in a game. If I'm reading this iLounge report correctly, Apple's subsidiary and audio/lifestyle company Beats has partnered with footballer Erling Haaland and EA Sports FC on merch for the video game EA Sports FC 2024. According to the report, all involved parties have launched an ad that shows Haaland using Beats headphones. As he gets off a bus, his image is translated into an avatar for the FC24 game, doing his signature moves and victory poses. Near the end, a call to action says that users can get Haaland as a player and an exclusive Beats Studio Pro Viking vanity. It looks like some content will be attainable by rabid early adopters. Next month, the piece says folks who are interested can buy virtual Beats accessories for their players in FC24 player career mode. Becoming a Beats ambassador is also introduced in the game. Stories like that make me want to explore life in the off-world colonies. You know the saying about a rising tide lifting all boats? As iPhone was to smartphones and iPad was to tablets, there is reason to think that Apple Vision Pro will be the tide that lifts the rest of the mixed reality market. Upload VR ran a piece earlier this week saying Qualcomm seems to be planning a mixed reality or XR chipset for early 2024. According to machine translations of a report from South Korea's Electronic Times, Qualcomm's GM and VP of XR, Hugo Swart, says such an offering is set for the first quarter of next year. While Qualcomm confirmed the quote for Upload VR, it declined to offer further details. Left to guess, Electronic Times figures the next-gen XR chipset could find a home in some sort of Apple Vision Pro competitor. That site speculates that the chipset could land in headsets made by Samsung and LG. A rising tide lifts all boats, but will it leave them in the doldrums? Playing out one scenario, Upload VR says, we could thus see three distinct options for high-end, standalone XR emerge in the coming years, with fierce competition between them. As with the smartphone market, Qualcomm will seemingly be powering the hardware for all Apple's serious competitors. But will there really be room for three separate software platforms, the site asks? Or will Meta and Google be in a zero-sum fight to be the Android of XR? And finally today, if you'd like to take a look at how Apple made the scary fast video happen, there is a video about the video that'll show you. We talked yesterday about how Monday night's presentation was shot on iPhone, surprisingly a first for an Apple event. Now Mac Rumors says the Cupertino company has invited viewers on set, posting a super short video called Behind the Scenes, an Apple event. No guerrilla filmmaking project is this. I mean, yeah, they're shooting on an iPhone 15 Pro Max, a phone that you can get yourself, but they're strapping it into dollies and cranes and drones. Not all at the same time. It's all supported by full crews, professional lighting, basically everything you'd expect on an industrial film set, except for the traditional camera. But that's not nothing. As Daring Fireball's John Gruber put it, the whole point is that an iPhone 15 Pro camera is so good that it can fit right in on a high-budget commercial film shoot and produce world-class results. Not surprisingly, the behind-the-scenes video was also shot on iPhone and edited on Mac. Amusingly, though, the fine print on this one says, additional Pro software and hardware used, with special thanks given to Blackmagic Design and Beast Grip. You can see the snazzy behind-the-scenes offering now on YouTube. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media. Online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.